Hello music fans, you're watching Death by Unicorn, a channel where we talk about metal, rock, and prog music. And this is New Music's Alive in 2025. So I'm going to talk about 8 new albums that came out over the past 10 or 11 days or so. Some of these are a little bit older than a week old, but I just have to mention them because I missed them in my last video. And I'll talk about them in my order of preference, starting with Dream Theater, the big one that everybody's talking about in the world of progressive metal, their album Parasomnia. This is the 16th album by the legends of the progressive metal genre. They're from the US, of course, and this one is a near masterpiece. It's their first studio album in over 15 years to feature original drummer Mike Portnoy. It's great to have him back, his first since 2009's Black Clouds and Silver Linings. And I enjoyed the 3 early release singles from this. My favorite of those is Midnight Messiah, where we hear some callbacks to other past Dream Theater songs, which is cool. Like there's lyrical callbacks to Strange Deja Vu, Constant Motion, Home, This Dying Soul, and more. And overall, there's a lot of small musical and lyrical references that look back to their discography with the song while it preserves its own identity. And this album, while not Dream Theater's best, is still a near masterpiece. I like it better than A View from the Top of the World. Mike Mangini's drumming in Dream Theater while he was in the band before Mike Portnoy came back was still amazing, but there is something iconic, musical, and almost melodic in Mike Portnoy's playing that just fits the band so well, and it's so great to have him back. And he also helps out a lot with like making the album kind of flow and have a concept. Like this one is about kind of more sleep disorders, and it's not a concept in terms of a narrative story, but it's a thematic concept album where each of the tracks kind of relates to the theme of sleep disorders, and it flows nicely, having an overture, having kind of an interlude track, and having the ballad, and then having the big epic at the end. It just kind of gives you everything you want and has a nice journey from start to finish for the album. And I think Mike Portnoy brings a lot of that insight into how an album should flow as well. And I like how they close it off with that over 19-minute prog epic called The Shadow Man Incident. So Dream Theater here, they don't push boundaries too much on this. They don't explore much new territory for Dream Theater. But if you like Dream Theater music in general, you should definitely like this. It's another masterful execution of this style of prog metal from the legends themselves who popularized the genre of prog metal. And it is my favorite album of the year so far. Let's see if they can hold on to that spot. I have a feeling something else will come out that can top this, but Dream Theater is, in the early running for album of the year for me. And they've in past years, back in the 90s and stuff, like they definitely would have won that for me, but it's been a while since they've had what I consider an album of the year worthy contender. But yeah, I'm excited that they do. I think I might do a full length review of this where I go track by track, where I talk about the album art as well, go dive into the lyrics, talk about every song in detail. So definitely hit subscribe on that channel if you want to hear me talk about this album even more and kind of show a vinyl that I have on the way for this. And next up on my list for today is a much more underground one. It's Jacob Roberge with The Passing. Now this one came out on January 31st, whereas Dream Theater's came out February 7th. I missed this in January. I only just discovered it recently. This is the debut album by this Canadian artist. It's progressive rock with some metal influences. And this is also a near masterpiece. This is one you have to hear now if you like prog music. Thanks to Nathan on Shuffle for making me aware of this one. I saw him mention a single from this on his New Music Weekly, one of those videos, and I checked it out. I loved it. The album ends with a 32-minute prog epic called The Passing, which is a mind-blowing and amazing epic. And it's so wild that an artist can make something so good on his first album. This epic is on par with the epic from Dream Theater, The Shadow Man Incident. And of course, Dream Theater is a band that's experienced and very skilled at writing epics. So that's saying a lot for an individual one-man project to come out and make an epic as good as theirs. And this whole album's amazing too. There's moments that are more like singer-songwriter songs, but there's also moments that are like intense prog metal and guitar shredding. If you're a fan of Porcupine Tree, Riverside, Styx, Pink Floyd, Rush, and Dream Theater, definitely check this out. It sounds like a mix of those bands. Great vocal performances, great guitar performances, great songwriting. My favorite song so far, besides the epic, which is my favorite, is Garden of Souls. Check that out if that sounds good to you. That's Jacob Roberge and The Passing. Gotta support the fellow Canadian prog artists. And next up I have Jinjer with their album Duel. Another one I'm putting in the near masterpiece category. It's awesome to be able to talk about 3 near masterpieces in one video. This is the 5th album by this Ukrainian band. This is progressive metalcore with some djent and groove metal influences. Great female vocals by Tatiana Shmilik, who can scream like a beast. She also sings really well. Opening track, Tantrum, starts off the album nice and intense and heavy with harsh vocals, but it goes into clean, beautiful vocals near the end. Tumbleweed is a great song with mostly clean vocals. Green Serpent is another great one that was released as a single ahead of time. It's actually really hard to pick a favorite track here from this Jinjer album. They're all such consistently amazing songs. Just like it's hard to pick a favorite Jinjer album for me, because the last 4 albums, including this one, have all just been neck and neck in my mind for which one's their best. Their debut album, while not quite as strong in my opinion, is also still a near masterpiece. They're just a consistent band ever since Tatiana joined. Their early EPs aren't quite as strong though. The first one was before Tatiana joined, and is definitely their weakest. But they got kind of progressively better, and they've plateaued with the last 4, but they're all just so damn good that I keep coming back for more, and I'll definitely be following everything they do. Gotta love Jinjer and their album Duel. Check it out if that sounds good to you. Now we're moving down from the near masterpiece tier to the excellent tier, and here I've got Obscura with a Sonication, 7th album by this German band. It's technical death metal with progressive influences. I love almost all of their work, so I expected this to be similarly excellent. If you're a fan of technical death metal that has a progressive edge to it, kind of like the Faceless or Cynic's first album, you should like this. There's a bit of controversy around this one. Unfortunately, a former touring member, Alex Weber, claims he wrote some of the bass parts before he left the band and said he got written confirmation that the material would not be used, but it has been used note for note, according to him. So that's not cool if that's true. Hopefully they can at least give him a writing credit, share some royalties, or whatever they can kind of agree to as a fair way to compensate him for breaking that agreement. Either way, it's a bit of a blemish on one of the tracks on here, but I hopefully the rest of the tracks are awesome. They kind of make up for that bad taste in my mouth, but wanted to mention that here, as I know that some people are not happy about that. So, but the music is excellent, amazing playing as always. If you like technical death metal, you'll definitely still like a Sonication by Obscura. Next up, I have a band that maybe I should have looked up the pronunciation for. It's spelled Saor. I'm going to say Saor, like the word sour, or maybe it's Saor, Saor. Amidst the Ruins, the 6th album by this band. They're from Scotland. It's atmospheric post-black metal with folk influences. I'm putting this in my excellent tier as well. I thought their last album, Origins from 2022, was very good. And I enjoyed the 2 singles I heard from this ahead of time, the title track and the Sylvan Embrace. And on this new one, they outdo that last one, Origins from 2022. They've reached my excellent tier now. And this album ends with a 14-minute prog epic as well. And then the track Echoes of Ancient Land is a great song. It's black metal that features bagpipes On this album, you get like flutes and kind of traditional Scottish influence, and it's kind of got these like Celtic and Scottish melodies and vibes and chord progressions throughout with this intense atmospheric black metal. So that sounds good to you. Check out Amidst the Ruins by Saor. Now we're moving down from my excellent tier to my very good tier. I've got Squid with Cowards here with their third album. This is art rock with post-punk, experimental rock, post-rock, math rock, indie rock, new wave, krautrock, ambient, and prog rock influences. A bit of a hard band to describe. They're an English band, and I thought their second album was very good as well. I was hoping this would capture me even more. It might be a little bit better, but it's pretty much on par with their previous album. And if you're a fan of bands like Black Midi, HMLTD, and Black Country New Road, definitely check this out. It's kind of in that vibe. Before I heard the whole album, I listened to the single Building 650, which I enjoyed. And so far, my favorite track is the closing track, Well Met, Fingers Through the Fence. Next up, also in my very good tier, is Mark Trueack with his album Save Us. It's the debut album by this solo artist. It's progressive rock. He's a great singer. He sings in the band Unitopia and United Progressive Fraternity. Mark was born in the UK, relocated to Australia, and he's now located in Thailand. I saw him over on the Prog Corner. They did a video there. I forget if it was a live stream. I think so. And he was talking about this project and some of his other upcoming projects, and they all sounded exciting. So wanted to check this out. And this album is full of softer, more emotional ballads with messages around environmentalism and against war. The songs are beautiful. The vocals are great. It's got a bit of progressive flair in each of the songs, but it's not super progressive or innovative. There's nothing here that will like pump you up. It's more of a downer, reflective, somber, but kind of hopeful album. If you want to listen to soft, emotional prog rock songs that are more like singer-songwriter songs, this is a really good one to check out. That's Save Us by Mark Trueack. And last one I'm going to mention in this video is just in my good tier. I've got Guided by Voices with Universe Room. And this is the 41st album by this American band, so they're a super prolific band. It's indie rock with power pop and progressive rock influences. And I never heard an album by Guided by Voices before, but I have heard Scott from the Prog Corner mention them before, and several times. I saw this new album's coming out, so I listened to an early single, Fly Religion. I enjoyed it, so I figured now's a good time to check them out. In some parts of the album, the vocal performances sound a little bit bad to me, but still interesting, and it's hard for me to tell if it's an intentional stylistic choice or if he's just not a great singer. It's got a bit of a punk rock energy mixed in with the indie rock, a bit of a prog vibe as well. Kind of like The Clash meets REM meets Nirvana meets Foo Fighters meets Green Day, kind of all those bands like mixed together. The acoustic guitar on The Well-Known Soldier is cool, but it sounds a bit sloppy, out of tune, poorly recorded, but it's kind of cool and charming, most likely an intentional artistic choice, though I don't necessarily understand why. All in all, I'd say the songwriting and instrumental aspects of this album by Guiding by Voices are very good, but the vocals are definitely below average for me, so I'm dragging this down to just my good tier for that reason. And that's my first impressions of these 8 albums. Most of these came out on February 7th, except for Mark Trueack, Save Us, came out on February 1st, and Jacob Roberge, The Passing, came on January 31st, I believe. So definitely check these albums out. Have you heard any of these? Let me know what you think of them down in the comments. And has anything else came out recently that you think I might enjoy? Also let me know. I like to check out new music all the time. And if you want to hear my first impressions of other albums that are coming out soon, I know that on Valentine's Day, we're going to have releases from Pattern Seeking Animals, Dr. Mocker, and Thomas Eric and the Ouroboros. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that in about a week's time, also hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for my next video. Peace out.